Hello everybody, welcome to Canvas tutorial. So this is our third lecture on general organic chemistry. I hope you have already watched my first two lectures. If you haven't, then I will recommend you to watch them first because these are the series of lecture which are interconnected with each other. So you need to understand the complete concept. That's why I am making the video in this sequence. And one more thing, that there will be one more lecture, that means there will be a lecture number 4, which is perhaps the most important lecture in this GOC series, because in that case I will complete overall 80% of theory part. That means the inductive effect, resonance and hyperconjugation, and some amount of electromagnetic effect. So these four topics will be covered in that lecture number 4. After completing lecture 4, that means these 4 concept builder lectures, then you will find only MCQ. I will already make a separate playlist. You know that I am making playlist for MCQ solving. A separate playlist is KMCQ. Like for your coordination, whenever you will see that some portion of theory is covered, then I will upload some videos on the KMCQ coordination playlist. So in this way, I'll make a separate playlist on KMCQ GOC, and that KMCQ GOC playlist you will find lecture 1, lecture 2, lecture 3. Those will be completely MCQ solving lectures. Clear? So that will be much helpful for you. So after completing these 4 classes, we will discuss all the MCQs, important MCQs, and we will cover almost all important previous year's questions as well. So that will be much helpful for you, I think. And we will discuss complete acidity and basicity with the question answer format. So without a further ado, I am going to start today's lecture. So let's begin. Okay, so in my previous lecture I already said that these two terms, nucleophile and electrophile, and what I say is that this phile comes from philicity. This comes from philicity. Okay, philicity means nothing but your affinity. Okay, so this phile means affinity, and nucleo stands for nucleus. Okay, so nucleus means something where positive charge is present. So positive charge is present. So some species which has a common tendency to the some species which has the affinity towards positive charge or positive charge species, then those are called nucleophiles. So what is a common property? Nucleophiles are electron rich and they will donate electron, and electrophile means nothing but your affinity towards electron or some negative charge. Clear? So it will accept electron density from that electron rich negatively charged or some electron rich species. So electrophile commonly accept electron, nucleophiles donate electron. Okay, let's take this example. Here the lone pair over nitrogen is donated to the vacant, it is the vacant 2p of BF3. So in this reaction, what is actually happening? Look at this BF3 molecule. Okay, so this BF3 molecule has a vacant 2p orbital. That means it has a crave for electron. It will try to accept electron. So something which accept electron is nothing but your electrophile. So here this BF3 acts as your electrophile. Clear? So BF3 acts as electrophile, and this NMe3 part, nitrogen has lone pair and it is donatable lone pair. It donates lone pair to the vacant 2p of BF3. So this NMe3 species is nothing but donating electron. It is a electron rich species, so that is why it can be said as your nucleophile. Clear? So NMe3 is nucleophile and electrophile is BF3. Now what we need to check here, the structure of this NMe3 molecule. Okay, in the structure of NMe3 molecule, what are the bonds present? Look at this. So what are the bonds present here? Okay, this is the structure of NMe3, and one lone pair will be here over nitrogen. Clear? So there are all So they all are nothing but your single bond, that means a sigma bond, that means sigma bonds. Clear? So NMe3 has a series of sigma bonds. So how many sigma bonds are present? Look at this, 1 2 3. So 3 NC, look at this, 3 NC sigma bonds. Okay, I'm highlighting this for your simplicity. This one, and this one, 3 NC sigma bonds. And if I change the color, look at this, this is one CH bond, this is one CH bond, this is one CH bond. These three are sigma bonds. Here also 1 2 3, 1 2 3. So what you get? You get there will be total 9 CH sigma bonds. Total 9 CH sigma bonds. And one lone pair. Look at this, one lone pair is present. Now lone pair is not taking part in any bond formation. So it is present, this is a sp3 orbital, this is a sp3 orbital of nitrogen, and this sp3 orbital is not taking part in any bond formation. So this orbital is nothing but your non-bonding orbital. You know that for any MO diagram there will be some bonding orbital, the electron on which if some electron is present on those bonding orbital, they will form a bond. There will be some orbitals which may be vacant, may be filled, non-bonding orbital, and there will be some orbitals which will be anti-bonding orbital. So this is the basic MO diagram. Now if we know that any molecule, now I am not discussing about this NMe3 right now. If any species, okay, let me change. Okay, if any species, I am writing it here, if any species has sigma bond, pi bond and lone pair. Clear? Sigma bond, pi bond and lone pair. I am taking some hypothetical, I am taking some model molecule where the sigma bond, pi bond and lone pair all are present. In that case, what will be the qualitative MO? So qualitative molecular orbital diagram will be like that. Sigma molecular orbital diagram will present at the lowest energy. Then there will be pi molecular orbitals. Then there will be non-bonding orbitals. Then pi star and then sigma star. So this will be the order of energy of the molecular orbital. So this is nothing but your qualitative molecular orbital diagram. Okay, so this is a qualitative molecular orbital diagrams. So sigma bond are the most stable bond. Clear? So that is why sigma bonding orbitals will have the least energy. You know that stability and energy inversely proportional. If energy is lower, then automatically stability increases. So the orbital which has lower energy, if electron present on those orbitals, then that will be more stable. Clear? So that is why what we can say, that sigma bonding orbital, sigma bond are stronger than pi bond, because you know that sigma bond means the direct overlap and pi bonds means there will be some sideway overlap. So the effective overlap is greater in case of sigma. That is why sigma bonds are more stable. So if you know this concept once, then you can easily identify that sigma will be in the lowest position, then there will be pi, and non-bonding orbital are not taking part in any bond, so that will be some amount of higher energy, and that is a non-bonding level. Clear? After that, if there is pi, if there is any bonding orbital, corresponding anti-bonding orbital will also present. So the pi star and sigma star. So this is a qualitative molecular orbital diagram of any molecule like this, where sigma bond, pi bond and lone pair is present. Now look at this molecule, that means the NMe3 molecule. Is there any pi bond? So is there any pi bond? So it has no pi bond. Now it has total 12 sigma bonds. Clear? 12 sigma bond means each bond. So it has 12 total sigma bonds. I am not saying that those are all equal energy, but total 12 sigma bonds are present. That means 12 into 2, 24 sigma electrons are present. 24 sigma electrons are present. Now, once you understand this thing, what I can say, these 24 sigma electrons will present in 12 sigma bonding orbitals. 12 sigma bonding orbitals. Okay. So, what you can see, what will be the qualitative molecular orbital diagram? There will be somewhat, here will be 12 sigma bonding orbitals. If it has 12 sigma bonding orbitals, then automatically they will have 12 sigma star orbital anti-bonding. If there is sigma, then there will automatically be sigma star. I am not talking about the bond energy of NC or CH, not like that. Only you classify that whether there is sigma bond or not. Whatever the sigma bond it is, it will be more stable than pi bond. Clear? So here no pi bond is present in NMe3 molecule, but one lone pair is present. Lone pair means that pair of electron is present in that orbital which is not taking part in any bond. If you understand this, then what I can say, that there will be one non-bonding orbital. One non-bonding orbital. Clear? So these all are filled up with, these all sigma bonding orbitals. Now I'm changing the color. Now these all are filled up by, so there will be 24 electrons, sigma electrons, and 2 electrons will present in this non-bonding orbital. So up to that non-bonding orbital, electron is filled. Okay. Now what I can say, that these 12 sigma bonding orbitals are filled orbital. That means they are occupied molecular orbital. And this is also occupied molecular orbital. So these all are nothing but your OMO. OMO, that means occupied molecular orbital. That means occupied molecular orbital. Clear? Among these all occupied molecular orbitals, which has the highest energy? From this diagram you can easily say that this non-bonding orbital has the highest energy. So it is highest occupied molecular orbital, or the HOMO. And what we know, that any nucleophile will donate electron from its HOMO. Okay, so this is very important thing. Okay, let me erase some portion. Okay, I'm erasing this part. So what I can say, any nucleophile, in the lecture number 2 you will get this message also. In my second lecture I have already said this thing, that any nucleophile will donate electron from its HOMO. Clear? Any nucleophile will donate electron from its HOMO. So which electron is being donated? This non-bonding electron is being donated, and that is the thing what is happening in this case. Okay, now look at this. We have already said that in NMe3 there are 12 sigma orbitals, 12 sigma star orbitals, and one non-bonding orbital. Okay, and they all are electronically filled. These all are electronically filled, and this is also filled, that means occupied, and this is nothing but your HOMO. This is your HOMO of NMe3, which will donate electron. Now coming to the point, that what is the structure of BF3? In this structure, if you take a look at this, it has 3 sigma BF bond. Okay, there will be 3 sigma BF bonds. That implies there will be 3 into 2. Each sigma bond will contain 2 electrons. So there will be 3 into 2, 6 sigma electrons. Okay, like my previous discussion, in the case of NMe3 I have already said this kind of calculation. So 6 sigma electrons will present in how many sigma bonding orbital? 3 sigma bonding orbital, each contain 2 electrons. So this sigma 6 sigma electrons will present, they will present in 3 sigma bonding orbital. Clear? There will be 3 sigma bonding orbital. Now one more thing is present here, that is your vacant 2p. There is a vacant 2p orbital. Now this orbital present in BF3 molecule will not take part in any bond, and this is not an anti-bonding one. So what it is nothing but your non-bonding orbital but vacant. Okay, so from here what molecular orbital diagram we can construct. In that qualitative molecular orbital diagram there will be 3 sigma molecular orbitals. Clear? And if there are 3 sigma molecular orbital, corresponding 3 sigma star molecular orbitals will also present, and one vacant non-bonding orbital. Now if I fill up it with the electrons, so these are 1 2 3 4 5 6 electrons are filled here, and this is nothing but our occupied molecular orbitals. These all are our OMOs. Okay, so these all our occupied molecular orbital. Now from this non-bonding one and this sigma star, these all are nothing but your unoccupied molecular orbital, UMO. These all are N and 3 sigma star are your unoccupied molecular orbital. Now if you remember the thing LUMO, what it says that the lowest energy unoccupied molecular orbital is called LUMO. So among these unoccupied orbitals, 3 sigma star is of highest energy, and then there will be a non-bonding orbital. 3 sigma star orbitals will have highest energy, then there will be a non-bonding orbital. The energy of non-bonding orbital is lower. So with this diagram, what I can say, this non-bonding orbital is your lowest unoccupied molecular orbital. Okay, so this is your LUMO. This is nothing but your LUMO. Okay, so in my previous class I have already said this thing, that any nucleophile will donate electron from its HOMO, and electrophile will accept electron from in its LUMO. So nucleophile donate from HOMO, electrophile accept at LUMO. So from where to where transition will occur? Now if I draw the electronic transition, so it will be non-bonding of NMe3 to non-bonding of your BF3. So this is the transition occurring from HOMO to LUMO transition. So the electronic transition is from non-bonding nitrogen of NMe3 to the non-bonding boron of BF3. This is the transition of electron. Clear? Now non-bonding nitrogen is nothing but your sp3, and non-bonding boron is nothing but your vacant 2p. This is the case happening. Non-bonding nitrogen is your HOMO, and non-bonding boron is the LUMO. From HOMO to LUMO, electronic shift is occurring to form that kind of nucleophile electrophile adduct. This is called adduct. Adduct means they are added to form this kind of situation. So look at this molecule. This molecule is nothing but your nucleophile electrophile adduct. This is called nucleophile electrophile adduct. Okay. Now this is the case where the lone pair of nucleophile is donated to the empty orbital of electrophile, and they are forming a bond between them. Okay, so they are forming a bond between them. So whenever this kind of non-bonding nitrogen having 2 pair of electron is interacted with the non-bonding boron, that means donation of electron is occurring, so there will be a bond formation. So what actually happens here, if you draw a molecular orbital diagram of this bond, so there will be 2 electron here. This 2 electron comes from this HOMO part. It is the HOMO of NMe3, and this is the LUMO of BF3. Now this non-bonding in orbital of nitrogen is donating electron to the non-bonding orbital of boron, so there will be a bond formation. If there is any bond formation, automatically what will happen? There will be one bonding orbital and one anti-bonding orbital. So this is the qualitative molecular orbital diagram of that nucleophile electrophile adduct. So this is the molecule where I am drawing the molecular orbital diagram of this bond. I am highlighting it. Now I am highlighting this bond. Okay, this is the bond between boron and nitrogen. Clear? So the MO says that this is anti-bonding and this is bonding, and bonding has 2 electrons. That means the bond formation occurs. You know that what is the bond order? How the bond order is calculated? Bond order is nothing but number of bonding orbital minus number of anti-bonding by 2. For this BN bond, for this bond order of BN bond, in this case it is a BN bond. Look at this, it is a BN bond. So how many how many bonding electron? There will be 2 bonding electron. So bonding electron is 2. There is no anti-bonding electron, so it is 0. Overall bond order is 1, so there will be 1 bond between them. So this is the overall qualitative assay of that. This is the overall qualitative assessment of this kind of nucleophile and electrophile interaction, and how they form bond and what will be the pattern of that bond. What is HOMO, what is LUMO, these have been discussed in this case. Okay, look at this case I have already discussed here. In the left portion it is nothing but for electrophile, and in the right one it is nothing but your nucleophile. What happens actually in the nucleophile? Look at this, these all are your occupied molecular orbitals. Among them this one is your highest occupied molecular orbital. This is the highest occupied molecular orbital. So as it is a nucleophile, it will donate electron from HOMO. So this is your HOMO. If you take a look at this electrophile, these all are unoccupied molecular orbital. So these all are your unoccupied molecular orbital. Among them, this one highlighted here is nothing but this one is nothing but your lowest unoccupied molecular orbital. So there will be bond formation between them. Okay, between the HOMO of. So what actually happens in the interaction between electrophile and nucleophile? There is bond formation between HOMO of nucleophile and LUMO of electrophile. Clear? This is the case. Okay, let's move on to some examples of nucleophiles. Look at these all examples. They all have this kind of lone pair, donatable lone pairs. So these lone pairs in all cases, look at this, these are all cases. Here in all cases there are lone pairs, and lone pairs means they are present in nothing but your non-bonding orbital, non-bonding orbitals, and these non-bonding orbitals are nothing but your HOMO. These are your HOMO. So these all are nucleophiles, and they will donate electron from that lone pair of electrons, and they will donate that lone pair of electron. That means they will donate electron from their HOMO. Now for a lone pair of ammonia, the lone pair is donated. For Br minus, there are also lone pairs, so negative charge, so it can also behave as nucleophile. Sometimes what I find, sometimes what you find that this kind of double bond can donate electron and can act as nucleophile, and this kind of sigma bond can also act as nucleophile. Now let's talk about these two systems. Okay, for the first case, that means for the third case rather, that means the ethylene. Ethylene molecule has this kind of situation. Look at this ethylene molecule. So there are sigma 1 2 3 4 5. There are 5 sigma bonds. So there are 5 sigma bonds and 1 pi bond and 1 pi bond. And the most important thing is that there is no lone pair and there is no vacant orbital. These two are sp3 centers and there is no vacant orbitals. So what it says actually, it implies that there will be 5 1 2 3 4 5 5 sigma orbitals and 5 sigma star orbitals. Okay, 5 sigma orbitals are filled, and now they have pi bond, so 1 pi orbital and 1 pi star orbital. So what I can say that electron is filled in these orbitals 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So there are 10 sigma electrons in the 5 sigma bonds, so 5 sigma bonding orbital, and 1 pair of electron in the pi bond. So up to this there is homo, sorry, up to this, so up to this they are called your occupied molecular orbital. And between these occupied molecular orbital, if I highlight this position, that means this is nothing but your, it is your HOMO. So nucleophile will donate electron from HOMO. There is no non-bonding electron, so it will donate electron from pi bond. So here the HOMO is pi. Pi is your pi bonding orbital is your HOMO. That is why it is donating electron from its pi orbital. Now look at this molecule, lithium CH3. Lithium is electropositive, so what I can say that this bond is getting charged. So that will be some positive charge and negative charge. Okay, and CH, CH, CH. Now since this bond is charged, charge means that this bond is more polarized. There will be electronegativity difference between carbon and hydrogen, I know that. But what I can say that the electronegativity difference between carbon and hydrogen is much lesser rather than the electronegative difference between this lithium and carbon. So if they has more electronegativity difference, then this bond between carbon and lithium bond is more polar. Okay, if this bond is more polar, that implies that this bond can be broken easily because it is already polarized. Okay, more polar bond electron is already shifted to some atom, some more electronegative atom, so the bond breaking is easier. So what I can say that this CLI bond is weaker bond, is weaker than CH bonds. CH bond or sigma bond, here also I can say that it is sigma bond. It's not actually sigma bond purely, but what I can say that this is a sigma bond. There is the electrostatic interaction, and you know that in any bond, in the dipole moment case, you can easily say that any bond has some amount of ionic character, some amount of covalent character. Now this bond has more ionic character, and that is why it is more polarizable, and that is why it is less stable. Okay, so the stability of this CLI bond is lesser. Lesser stability, what it implies? This implies that if CLI bond is less stable, then automatically the sigma bonding orbital between carbon and lithium will have higher energy. Do you understand this? So how many sigma bonds? You can think that if I change the color, it will be more easier for you to understand. There is sigma bond between carbon and Li. There are sigma bonds between carbon and hydrogen. Now these all three sigma bonds are stronger sigma bonds. These are stronger sigma bonds. If these are stronger sigma bonds, that means they will have lower energy. In this molecule lithium CH3, in this molecule, what you can say that there is only 4 sigma bonds are present. There is no lone pair, no pi bond, okay, no vacant orbital, no vacant orbital. In this way you can think. In this way you can think. So there is only 4 sigma bonds. Now the matter is that what will be the HOMO? This is behaving as a nucleophile. So what will be the HOMO? So to understand that, we need to understand that what we need to do, we need to classify what we need to do, we need to understand which bond is of lower energy and which bond is of higher energy. So from here what I can say that 3 sigma CH bonds will have lower bonding orbital, that means lower energy bonding orbital, and then there will be 1 sigma CLI bonding orbital. Okay, 3 sigma CH, and then there will be 1 sigma CLI. So automatically there will be 1 sigma star CLI bond, that means the anti-bonding part corresponding, and 3 sigma star CH. If I fill the electrons, what I can say, I am filling up the electron 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So up to this CLI, that means these 4 are the sigma bonds and these all are your occupied molecular orbital. Between them what I can say, if you take a look at this one, between them this one is your, this is your highest occupied molecular orbital. Clear? So this kind of system, this lithium CH3 is nothing but your this methyl lithium group where it is negative and it is positive. So it will donate electron from its HOMO, that means sigma CLI. Okay, so this is one organometallic compound. Similar kind of observation you will find it any kind of this kind of system. That means if RMGX, suppose RMGX is there, Grignard reagent. So there also a bond between this carbon, R means there will be alkyl group, that means carbon. So CMG bond. So that sigma CMG bond, calcium carbon magnesium bond, that sigma bond will be, that sigma bonding orbital will be the HOMO. So here it will have the HOMO of sigma CMG. Okay, this kind of organometallic compound will have this kind of sigma HOMO orbital. So it will donate electron from its sigma bonding orbital. So far what we have discussed, that a non-bonding electron can also behave as HOMO, pi bonding orbital can behave as HOMO, sigma bonding orbital is also can behave as HOMO. If there is no pi or non-bonding orbital, then only one option is left with us, that is the sigma bond. And this is the case what is happening here. Okay, I hope you understood all the thing clearly. So let's move on toward this example. Look at this. What is happening here? This is a ethylene molecule and it is donating electron to the bromine. So bromine has sigma bond, and it is much easier for you to understand what is happening. From this arrow what you can say that here sigma bond between Br and Br is getting cleaved. Okay, sigma bond between bromine is getting cleaved. Whenever a bond is breaking, what you can say, a bond was formed because there was electron at the bonding orbital. Now if I just donate electron to the anti-bonding orbital, then what will happen? The bond order will be 0. Understand? Suppose some orbital, bonding orbital, it was some bonding orbital, it can be pi, it can be sigma, whatever. It is a bonding orbital and it is a anti-bonding orbital. Anti-bonding orbital. Now look at this. This is a very important thing, important concept you need to clarify. These are very simple thing, but we always confuse about that what is happening, how the electron is donated to the sigma star. This is the answer, that if bonding orbital has electron, a pair of electron, that implies that what will be the bond order? The bond order will be, if this bonding orbital has 2 electron, anti-bonding has no electron, that means 2 by 2, 1. So from here what I can say, the bond order is 1. If the bond order is 1, there will be bond, one bond will be between that, whatever it is. So if bond order is 1, so that implies that there will be bond between them. Now suppose I am adding 2 more electron at this site, anti-bonding orbital. So if I add 2 more electron to the anti-bonding orbital, then what will happen? Overall bond order now the bond order will be 2 minus 2 by 2, that means 0. So effectively what is happening, if electron is donated to anti-bonding orbital, the bond gets cleaved, so bond will be broken. So if I donate electron to the anti-bonding orbital, then only the bond will break down. So as a result of that, what I can say, what is happening in this case, look at this. There is a ethylene molecule. Ethylene molecule has pi bond, pi CC bond between two carbon atom. There will be pi bond. So that pi bonding orbital will be the HOMO, and it is donating electron. So it is nothing but your nucleophile. So it is your nucleophile. And here this Br2 behaves as electrophile. This bromine behaves as electrophile. It is accepting electron. So it is accepting electron to where? It's sigma star. That is why the sigma bond between bromine and bromine is getting cleaved. So the electronic transition occurs from pi C double bond C to sigma Br. This is the electronic transition, what is happening in this case. Is it clear? Okay, that's all for today. I hope you have already understood all the topic. If you enjoy the lecture, then please like it, share it and subscribe. Thank you. Happy learning.